Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NBA and the NFL. Got a brand new video for you, ladies and gentlemen, today. Before I get started, like always, I appreciate you guys drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, first time here, never ever seen any of my NBA or NFL lineup advice videos, you want to get this content on a regular basis, the only thing you need to do to be a part of the DFS Zone community here is subscribe down below. Make sure you put on your post notifications, that bell icon right next to it. Make sure you click on that, turn that on, so this way you don't miss out on any of my NBA or NFL lineup advice videos when I post them up. All right, with that being said, today is Sunday, December the 2nd, 2018. We have a 4-game slate in the association. We actually had some games earlier in the day, and there's some games in the evening. The main slate is only 4 games today. There will be also, I believe, an after hours. Yes, I'm looking at the schedule. There is also an after hours as well. As you guys know, I play the after hours as well. But earlier in the day, there's actually 2 or 3 games going on early in the game. So it's really a 6-7 game slate today. But we're only going to concentrate on the main slate, which is 4 games. A lot easier. And every time we have these smaller slates, like I said, I will try to experiment with the Fantasy Cruncher. I do plan to utilize another software soon, just to give it a shot and see how that pans out. So there may be another option there for you guys if you're not so fond of the Fantasy Cruncher. You could probably utilize something else. I am looking at another software that someone has reached out to me and offered me an opportunity to check it out. So we'll see how that pans out as well. But again, 4-game slate today. And what I'm going to do differently today, 4-game slate, I'm going to give you one player per position that I really, truly like. And then I'm going to also mention some others that I think that are in play for sure today. And then I'm going to throw them all on the optimizer, okay, on Fantasy Cruncher, and we're going to crunch it out, and we're going to see what kind of percentages we get on those players that we believe may be of the best opportunities for us today, and see what spits out and what lineup spits out. And then you could utilize those lineups if you wish. If not, no problem, no worry about it. I normally don't play a lot of those lineups, to be totally honest with you, so I like to look at the percentages and see where I like things at, and then I base my lineups through that. But the optimizer is there for that reason. You can utilize that on Fantasy Cruncher here for that sole purpose if you wanted to. All right, so let's get right to it, man. At point guard today, these guys at the top, obviously, look at point guard today. I will have some exposure more so to Damian Lillard against San Antonio, because I think there's an opportunity there for him to really do very well. So I'm going to throw him in the optimizer at the end here. But I'm going to discuss Ben Simmons might be another one we may consider, but I really don't like going up a lot against Memphis. There's a couple of teams here today that are really pretty good against guards. Memphis is pretty tough. Utah is pretty tough. You also have the Clippers that are pretty tough. So a lot of good, decent defending teams here today. So it's going to make it a little bit more challenging for us to decide on some plays. I'd rather go with the teams and with the plays where it looks like there's a little more favorable matchup, where there could be some more damage and more opportunity for us to gain fantasy points. So, but Damian Lillard is someone I definitely consider here at the top. I think we could actually pay down at guard today. So I'm going to come down to Ricky Rubio. I like his matchup against Miami. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say a no-brainer. Miami is struggling, obviously, due to the injuries to Dragic and Tyler Johnson. Really has hurt them. But Rubio's coming in here, 12 points, 3.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. He's averaging 28 fantasy points per game at 6,400. You need 32 here on Fanduel. On DK, he is 6,000 on the nose. So you only need 30 there. Again, like I said, what I like more importantly is that Miami's really been having trouble here. Miami, let's go over to the Cruncher, and let's go over to Ricky Rubio. And as you can see, Ricky has been up and down a little bit, but I think this is a favorable matchup because I do like the minutes he's playing. I don't like that he's not taking sufficient enough shots, or he's taking sufficient enough shots, but they're not going down. But if he gets hot, he could be very dangerous. He definitely has 40, 45-point upside. He can get you 50 on some given days. We know he's a pretty decent passer, so you definitely get some assists. But at the moment, we're looking at him. He's at pretty much averaging 30 to 32 minutes. I would say 30, 32 minutes over the last 2 games, and his usage rate is close to 20. But on average, he's pretty much averaging about 22, 23% usage rate throughout the season, and averaging about 29 to 30 minutes on average, which is good enough for this price tag. If he's going to get close to 30 minutes, that is fantastic. It's just a matter of how many shots he's getting. And as far as shots, he's taking about 10, 11 shots a game. There are some points where he's gotten 16 shots and 15 shots. And he's capable, of course, of shooting some threes, about 3 or 4 threes a game. and he's a decent free throw shooter when he gets on the line. And then he brings a little bit of rebounding. Obviously his forte is his assist totals. I've been down as of late, but he has been pretty good over the years as far as passing assists. He doesn't turn over the ball a whole lot. Prefer him not to turn over the ball at all. He does have an occasion be able to get a couple of steals. Not really big in that department. Again, I like the matchup just due to Miami is really struggling. You know, his home and away splits have not been too bad at all. On the road, he is shooting 40% from the floor, 34% from three, and he's averaging 27.5 fantasy points per game. They're going up against Miami right now, which is struggling, 24th in defending point guards, as you can see there. They're 23rd in fantasy points per game allowed since Dragic and Johnson went down, allowing 31 fantasy points per game. That has been increasing slowly but surely been increasing upward. Just gave Frazier 26. Trae Young put up 41 against them. Mr. Russell of the Nets put up 51. Those guys were 3 out of the last 5 games. So I like Ricky Rubio here, and I'm going to basically put him here right away. I told you I had an interest in Lillard. So before we go over the shooting guard, we're just going to choose those players that I think we should optimize. We could throw in here a Ben Simmons at 9,400. Connolly against Philadelphia, we could do that as well. Ricky Rubio, which I like. I do think that we should consider Dennis Smith Jr. in this matchup against the Clippers, even though the Clippers guards are pretty good. I do like Alexander a lot here against Dallas. Then as far as cheap plays, you can see here Patty Mills is not a bad play because he plays sufficient enough minutes. And then I would think we could also throw in here Mr. Forbes. Connolly only plays massive minutes when there's blowouts, so we're not going to consider Connolly. We could throw in Derek White. And I would think I'm not high on Patrick Beverley because he's more of a defender than anything else to me. You know, so I think right there, that's about where I would be at today. You could throw in there Shelvin Mack, but Shelvin Mack plays more so when there's a little bit of a lead for Memphis. I don't know if they're going to have a huge lead today. Matter of fact, for his price of $4,000, you need pretty much 20. We'll throw him in there as well on the optimizer. All right, let's go over to shooting guard. And at shooting guard today, I like the guy right at the top. I like DeMar DeRozan. I think DeMar DeRozan versus Portland is a fairly good matchup for him. He's coming in here averaging nearly 24 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, pretty much close to 6 rebounds a game, 6 assists. 40.9 fantasy points here on Fanduel. That round that out to 41 at 8,600, and he pretty much 43. He is actually 7,800 on DK. You only need 38 fantasy points there, 38, 39, which is very much attainable for DeMar DeRozan. Okay. He's a good fantasy point per minute player when he is playing well. So we're going to come here to DeRozan, and as we can see, DeMar DeRozan, as of late, has been a little bit below value. I'm not concerned. We'll take a little bit of a discount. He was 8,300 in the last game. He's been up due to the 4-game matchup today. He's been priced up only by $300, but he was at one point 9,200 and 9,000. So there is a slight discount on him right now. Everything that DeMar brings in, we know he is a part of this offense. He's going to get the minutes. He's getting about pretty much 35 minutes. 35 to 36 minutes pretty much a game. I mean, he's been as high as 40 minutes. And we know his usage rate is going to be sky high, pretty much 29 to 30, maybe even 30% usage rate per game. It's just his shots need to fall. He hasn't had quite a good success in the last few games. 9 of 18 here, 50%, 5 of 13 here. We know he's not a good three-point shooter. He's only going to take a few of those once in a while. But he's a fairly decent free throw shooter, and he brings everything else to the table, a little bit of rebounding, a little bit of assists. He has to clean up the turnovers lately. 9, 10, 11 turnovers. 12 turnovers over the last 3 games. It's really bad. It definitely hurts us as fantasy point players because we lose 1 point because of the turnovers. But he brings the defense, as we know. He's a pretty decent defender. 2 steals. He had 4 blocks 2 games ago. And he's a double-digit guy. He's going to put double-digit scoring from the floor. We just need him to get it going here, man. He has home and away splits so far this year. He's been pretty excellent. 49% field goal percentage and 49% field goal percentage. And he's also at 40 fantasy points per game. Versus Portland, they play earlier in the year, much early on over here. Where is it? Can't find it. But anyway, he played against Portland Well, actually, he played Portland last year. One game last year, 11 of 22, 50%, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, 100%, 28 points from the floor, and 48.3 fantasy points. So we know he's going to be good. The last 6 or 7 meetings, he has had great success against Portland. As you can see here, look at this, all in the green. 6 out of the last 7 games against Portland, he has done 40 points or better. So I definitely like the matchup for DeRozan. We're going to put him in there in the optimizer. We have to have some consideration to CJ McCollum at 6,800. And then we come down here. I do like Donovan Mitchell in this matchup. We don't know what's up with Luka Doncic. Dwayne Wade will throw him in there in the optimizer as well. I do like Lou Williams here against Dallas, even though Dallas is fairly feisty defensively with Wesley Matthews as well as Harrison Barnes. So they always concern me. Not on Wayne Ellington because he's pretty much a shooter, and if he's not on, he's not on, so he's scoring dependent. Going up against Utah, I don't like putting up a lot of guys against Utah. Wesley Matthews, I throw in here, even though the Clippers are very good defensively as well as Wesley, but he is very feisty, and I like the fact is that at 4,700, he gets a lot of minutes. You know, his minutes have been pretty good, and his usage rate is, you know, okay as well. I kind of, you know, he always gets into double digits. He takes more than enough shots for me. Let's put it that way. For 4,700 that I'll be willing to take a stab. And you have to take a stab at Avery Bradley at 3,500. That is a cheap price for him. He gets a couple of steals. We know he's pretty good defensively. You never know. Kyle Korver, rejuvenated in Utah. They're utilizing him. So even though they're playing against Miami, it was pretty tough against shooting guards. I still like Kyle Korver there as a possible play. $3,700. You got to take a stab at him. And that is pretty much it. This is what I'm looking at, man, to be honest with you, as far as today. As shooting guard. So we're going to throw those guys in the optimizer. All right, let's go to small forward. At small forward today, man, I'm not high on Josh Richardson because of that Utah defense, and I don't like Gallinari too much so going up against Harrison Barnes. I think Harrison Barnes is a better defender than Gallinari, and I think also I like Harrison Barnes more than Gallinari because of the usage rate and the amount of shots he takes compared to over the years. Barnes has been more of an integral part of this offense this year, and he's playing fairly well. He doesn't give us a huge upside, but at 6,000, I mean, you only need 30. So I'm going to speak upon Harrison Barnes. We'll probably throw in Richardson due to the fact that he's been the main guy for the Miami Heat, but I think that matchup against Utah is going to be a little tough for him. But Harrison Barnes is the guy we're going to speak about. I really think he's more of a lock for me. Harrison Barnes is coming in 17.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, pretty much 1 assist a game. 26.8 fantasy points per game. You're pretty much 27 fantasy points per game at 6,000. You need 30. On DK, he's 6,200, so they priced him up a little bit more. You only need 31 there, so 30 to 31 is very much attainable for Harrison Barnes. We come over to the cruncher, small forward, and we'll punch in there Mr. Barnes. And as you can see with Harrison, he's been pretty solid, man. 33, 36, 34. Got a 40 spot here, 43 spot in his last game, 43 spot here. So we know he has 40-point upside. And what I like most is that he is getting tons and tons of usage. His usage rate is at about 24, 25%. Look at the minutes. He's getting about 30, I would say he's definitely getting 31-plus minutes per game on average, maybe as much as 32 minutes a game. And then the shots are there. He's getting about, in the last 4 or 5 games, he's getting about 15, 16 shots a game on average. And then he also takes a few threes. He's in the last 4 or 5 games, he's pretty much averaging 5 or 6 threes a game, and he's burying them pretty much at about 40, 45% clip. And of course, he gets a couple of rebounds. Not gonna pass the ball a whole lot because he is a scorer, but he gets a couple of rebounds, which I like to see, and he also is not a bad defender. 2 steals here, 1 and 1 here, 4 steals over the last 4 games, and 1 block. And he's a double-digit guy. He's pretty good. He's close to 1 fantasy point per minute, pretty much on average, about maybe 0.80, 0.85 on the norm. I like him here. I like the matchup against the Clippers. Clippers are coming in 29th, as you can see here, defending small forwards this year. 25th in fantasy points allowed to small forwards. They are allowing right now currently 29.3 fantasy points per game. They did recently give up 38 to Mr. Jaren Jackson, 40 to Otto Porter, 70 to Giannis earlier in the year, and 27 to TJ Warren. So I like Harrison Barnes here with the usage and the amount of shots he takes. I think Harrison Barnes is a fine play. And like I said, I will throw in here Josh Richardson. I don't think he's in a great matchup here, but because of the usage he gets there for Miami and him being the pretty much a number one go-to guy there as far as offensively, you will have to consider Josh Richardson. We come down here, we could slap on Rudy Gay, but if you think of Rudy Gay, I was looking at this earlier, Harrison Barnes, you seen his numbers here? I just want to share this with you guys again. Look at the shots he's taking per game and the usage rate in minutes. And for $200 cheaper, I don't think this is a good deal as far as price. $5,800, and he's not getting the same amount of minutes. The usage rate is below 16, more like 17, 18%. And look at the shots he's been taking in the last 5 games, even throughout the last 10 games. He's only taking about 8 or 9 shots a game. So, again, this comes to show you sometimes you got to look at usage, minutes, and as far as shots, Harrison Barnes is taking a lot more for the price. For $200 more, I like Harrison Barnes here. I'm not going to even throw into optimizer Rudy Gay, but you know, you guys want to, you can. Kyle Anderson, Evan Turner, I think so, yes, even though there's got the, you know, game time decision here. We'll see here. He's day-to-day. I do like the Utah players here. Engels and Crowder, I think, will be excellent plays here at their prices of 58. Crowder at 45, I like even more so. Going up against the 16th defense of Miami, and we know Miami is a little bit better there because of Josh Richardson, but I kind of like these guys here against Miami. They're more vulnerable. I don't like taking a lot of guys against Utah. It's just they're just one of those teams that sometimes they just slow down the pace and they make it so much difficult on players. And these guys are not bad defenders. Maybe here Justice Howard Winslow, just to give a little support to Richardson. Maybe he's the only one. Wilson Chandler here against Memphis. All right, we'll throw him in there. He's also a game time decision. I do like Dorian Finney-Smith here. I'm going to slap him in there because of a budget play. At 4,300, he gets more than enough usage and minutes and time. So I kind of like that. And that's pretty much it for me. Those are the 5 or 6. There's only about 6 or 7 plays here that I like. So let's go to power forward. We're going to see at the end what that pops up for us. So at power forward, man, this is an area where I think you could definitely pay up at today because the matchups are going to be pretty good. I like the Clipper guys going against the Dallas power forwards. And I do like Mr. Jackson here against Philly. But we're going to talk about Tobias Harris, even though I do like Montrezl Harrell is definitely in play. Tobias Harris is in play. Numbers are there. I like the 84 price tag. He's averaging 22 points per game, pretty much 9 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 36.6 fantasy points. We're going to round that off to 37. At 8,400, you need 42 FanDuel points on DK. He's 8K on the nose. You need 40. And as you can see, he's averaging the 22, 9, 2, and 36. Over the last game or so, the last 2 games, he's put up about 32-plus minutes or more. And I like that. Let's come over to the cruncher because I love reading it out from here. And Tobias Harris, we're just going to put the check mark on him because we know we like him. And Mr. Harris, numbers as far as minutes are there. Pretty much 33, 34. I would say 33 to 35 minutes a game, man. I mean, that's solid enough minutes for me for the 84 price tag. And then we got here, we see the usage rate is pretty darn good. We know that he's a very big part of their offense here. 22 to 23% pretty much on average. Usage rate, maybe even as high as 29%, as you can see here, but I would say 23 to 24. The minutes are there. The shots are there. More than enough shots. I would say 16, 17 shots per game on average. And then he also takes a couple of threes, 5 to 6 threes pretty much on average a game. And he's usually in that 50% range as well as far as his conversion. And then, of course, he brings the rebounding. He brings a couple of assists. And he's capable of time to time getting a couple blocks and steals. He's not really big on those numbers, but that's fine with me. Fine with me. His home and away splits have been pretty good. He's actually been better at home. In 11 games on the road, 56% field goal percentage, 48% from 3. That's excellent. 92% free throw percentage on the road, 8.5 rebounds, 23 points from the floor per game, and 39.5, nearly 40 fantasy points per game on the road this year. Definitely like those numbers versus Dallas. Dallas is coming in. They're 13th in defending power forwards, as you can see here. As of late, they've been ranking 29th in fantasy points per game allowed, averaging 29 fantasy points per game allowed to the power forwards. They recently have given up 36 to Mr. Jackson, 36 to Kuzma, and 34 to Favors. So if those guys can get 36, I think that Tobias Harris should be able to get 36 or better in this matchup. So I like Tobias Harris. I also like here, and we're going to check them off, I like Mr. Harrell, but we know he plays a lot of 5, 4, the Clippers, so he's going to see some defense from Mr. Jordan today. I will be willing to take a stab at LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm not too high on him today. I do like Jaren Jackson Jr. for sure against Philly. I think there's some vulnerability there, and I think Jackson could be able to capitalize on that. Also, we also have a game-time decision on Mr. Gasol. Derek Favors, not so much so with that Miami defense, with the Miami front court. I do like Aminu here against. He has now been really discounted down to 4,700. Kelly Olynyk has been getting back on track here as of late as far as minutes are concerned, 21 and 25 respectively in the last 2 games. Granted, this was a close game and a close game, so he is getting involved in games that are fairly close. You always got to look at that when you're getting guys spiked up in minutes. You want to know, is it because someone is out, or 2, is it because he's getting in and in garbage time? And it comes to show that, yeah, as of late, these games were close and he was still in the mix because he shot fairly well. And when he's shooting well, they're going to keep him on the court. So I think he's a very nice cheap budget play at 3,700. Then come down here. You could throw in there on a budget also Myers Leonard and Dwight Powell if he's okay. I mean, the other day he played well. 17, 19 minutes. Usage rate was good. I would throw him in there as well and see what it spits out there. So that's what I'm looking at power forward. You could consider JaMychal Green, but not so much so for me. Maxi Kleber could be a good play. Let's put him on there as well. All right, let's go over to center. At center, we're gonna go here. I mean, Joel Embiid is in play. If there's no Marc Gasol, he's like hands down in play. I think he's even in play if Gasol plays because, as we can see, the game time decision on Marc Gasol is that he has a sore knee, and if he's not 100%, then Embiid should be able to do well. But again, Marc Gasol is one of the best defending, probably the best defending center in the league, and he's going to get up for this game if he does play. So you can go either or, but I mean, I am going with it. I would go Embiid in Philadelphia, even if Gasol plays. I think he's going to try to just really show Gasol that, hey, I don't care how good you are defensively, I'm going to get mine. So I can just see that this guy's just got just a beast savage mentality. So he doesn't care who's in front of him. I think he'll be up for the challenge. So he definitely should be on Embiid, and if Gasol is out, he's definitely, should be locked in there, should have a massive game. The only thing is that, of course, he'll be very, very much chalky if that is the case. If you're not on Embiid, I would say you come down. I think Gobert is a nice play at 9,000. You need 45, and I think he's more than capable. He's been really solid as of late. I like him a lot more than Whiteside, even though Whiteside is at home. Both guys could be kind of vulnerable to fouls, but I still like Gobert the way he's been playing now. You got to go with the guy who's playing very well. Whiteside's not taking enough shots, and he's getting minutes, but he's not taking a lot of shots. I'm going to speak about Mr. Nurkic. I think Nurkic is in a fine situation here, at least in my opinion. He's coming in 15 points, 10 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 35 fantasy points per game. He is 8,100 here on Fanduel. You need pretty much 41, and he is 7,100 on DK. You only need 35 fantasy points there, which is what he's averaging right now. So he is in solid play on DK. We go over to the cruncher, and we're gonna check off Embiid because we know he's in play. Gasol or no Gasol. Now, I'm gonna fade Gasol today with the injury. Even if he plays, I think he's not gonna be able to go 100%. I'm gonna check off Gobert because I do like him there. And I'm going to check off Mr. Nurkic, which I'm going to speak about right now. And, of course, he's been solid, 41 and 42 in his last 2 games, pretty much 31 minutes per game over the last 2. He's pretty much averaging about 27 minutes per game, maybe 28. And, of course, the shots as of late, not bad. 15 and 11 in his last 2 games. On the norm, he's probably taking about 10, 11 shots per game. Then he's not a bad free throw shooter, as you can see, when he gets to the foul line, when he's aggressive. Rebounding is there. We know we're going to get that. He's almost a double-double guy almost every single time he plays. He had 11 and 13 in his last 2 games. Could distribute the ball a little bit more. He's been doing it in some games, a little choppy there, but he brings defense to the table. As you can see, 2 steals and 2 blocks in the last game. I mean, that's pretty much 12 fantasy points right there. And then he has been in 3-4 games in a row. He's had at least 1 steal or better, and 2 out of his last 3 games he has had 3 blocks. So double-digit guy. Pretty good 1 fantasy point per minute player. So Nurkic is definitely in play for me. His home and away splits have been okay. 51% field goal percentage, away from Portland, 71% from the foul line, 9.5 rebounds a game, 1.5 blocks, and 1 steal. This is on average on the road, 34 fantasy points per game. So he's been pretty solid. Did play against San Antonio earlier in the year, played only 23 minutes, shot 6 of 12, 50% from the floor, had 8 rebounds in that game, did also have 1 block and 1 steal, and put up 28.5 fantasy points. So I expect him, that was much earlier, and I expect him to be a lot more in the game and play more minutes than the 23 he played in the previous game. So Nurkic is in play for me. Other than that, you got to consider DeAndre Jordan here against the Clippers. I mean, you know, this is his former club. You know, he's going to play against his former club, so you got that revenge game narrative if you want to consider that. Not only that, he's been a little choppy. He's also been he's also in a good matchup here. The Clippers, you know, he's probably going to get some Harrell defense, maybe a little bit of Gortat, not a whole lot, but I like him here. I think he could be someone very sneaky at 7,700. He definitely has the potential to do. You know, he hasn't really had any good games in a while. I mean, look at his numbers, 23-25 the last few games. He's been playing choppy minutes, 24 and 30 here. Again, granted, this was a blowout game. This was another one that was a little bit out of hand. He needs to get it going, not taking enough shots, and personal fouls could be an issue once in a while, but we know he's going to get some rebounds. I think this is a game that he can break out at. So we're going to throw him in there in the optimizer. All right, so we got everybody that we are looking at least the far as I know of. Point guards, this is what I like so far. Shooting guard, we got pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got small forward. We got ourselves 5, 6, 7 plays there. Power forward, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And at center, we should have about 4 plays. And we're gonna spit out 100 lineups here, and we're gonna see what we get out of this as far as percentages. It seems like Lillard is number 1 at 100%. CJ McCollum is popping up at almost 100%. Evan Turner, so we're getting a lot of Portland here to start with. Portland over San Antonio. Kelly Olynyk, 75, almost 76%, 75% of the lineups. This is happening right in front of your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. You could use these lineups. I will show you a few. I'm going to go maybe about 5 or 6 or go over a couple of the lineups entirely. But what I like to see is what you see here on the side. I don't know if you can see that or not, is these percentages here. I like to see whom the optimizer is selecting more so of in these matchups. So Lillard looks like he's going to be about 94% or better. McCollum up there as well. I don't know if I'm going to pair them both up today because I do, but again, if you look at this first lineup they have right here, you got Lillard, Rubio, which I told you I like Rubio. They got my other guy DeRozan in it. They also have Embiid in here as well. And then you got Olynyk, Mr. Aminu, Turner. And then you look at lineup number 2, you got Lillard, Rubio, McCollum, Wesley Matthews. I like Matthews and Barnes, Turner. I like Jaren Jackson. I like this lineup a little bit more balanced to me as far as the different teams. Olynyk and Mr. Embiid. And there goes the 100 lineups. We have 92% of the lineups have C.J. McCollum in them, 91% Damian Lillard, 74% Evan Turner, which is a game-time decision. So, to me, I would not be so high on that one. I will probably eliminate him out of those lists. And this is what I do. Sometimes I just basically go back and I cut off some of these players. So, Josh Richardson, which I tell you is a tough matchup, only 23% of the lineups he is in on the bottom tier. We go here, and the beauty of the fantasy crunch is you can go right by position, and it'll tell you more or less whom was selected the most. So, in point guard, I like Rubio the most here, but I do have some, like I said when I started the video, I definitely going to have exposure to Lillard. So he's up there, 91%, Rubio 70%. Then comes Patty Mills at 15%, Ben Simmons at 15%, Connolly at 3%, Shelvin Mack at 3%, and Ben Forbes at 3%. We go to shooting guard. Top guy is McCollum. Then comes DeRozan. You know I like DeRozan more today. Then you got Wade and you got Matthews. Donovan Mitchell way down here, only 6%. Avery Bradley and Lou Will in the bottom. Small forwards. Turner, we're going to definitely take him out of there so the selection is going to go up. Matter of fact, we'll do that right now, and you're going to see that that's going to be a slightly different change here. Small forward. Let's take out Evan Turner. And at the moment, we're going to take out Wilson Chandler as well. We're going to recalculate this. I know the video is going to be a little lengthy, but it'll definitely help some of you guys out. If you want to use some of these lineups, you can. I figure once in a while I do something like this, especially on a small slate. And as you can see, it's calculating again, and it's pretty much going to be the same two guys up at the top, which is Lillard, McCollum. But as you can see now, Harrison Barnes is being selected a lot more. I think Harrison Barnes is a very nice play today. I'm definitely going to have a lot of exposure to him. I like that, you see, now it's calculating more Joe Crowder. And I think Joe Crowder, when I went over the small forwards, I did say that I definitely like the Utah players, and especially Crowder at his price. Well, here he goes. So this is how I also base to see how my mindset, how am I thinking on how things are coming out. Rubio's still up here as the top point guard other than Lillard, and we are still at 76%. 78 lineups. We're still trying to get to 100. 100 is probably a bit much for a 4-game slate. I normally would bring this down to 50. I should have moved that down to 50 lineups, but it's okay for the video's sake. I know it's a little lengthy, guys, but you may get something out of it that you may like, as far as maybe liking one of these lines. As you can see, these are the 6 you see on the screen. When this is done, it's getting there. We're at 97, 98, and we're done. 100 lineups done, and Lillard is still the top guy. McCollum is next. So let's go over each position. We got point guard Lillard, and then Rubio, 63%. So you know I like those two guys the most. Then over here, you know I like DeRozan. He's 53%. They got McCollum at 88%. So I will sprinkle a little McCollum into my lineups, but I like DeRozan a little bit more. I think, obviously he has the better upside. Then you got Dwayne Wade at 31%, and you got Wesley Matthews at 15%. As you can see, the guys that are pretty much out of here, Lou Will, Kyle Korver at 3%, Avery Bradley. Right now, I would just eliminate those and just focus on the others. And then you could also go back to the optimizer, take those 3 guys out, and then all of a sudden you're optimizing 50 lineups. You can make the lineups less, 30 or 40 or 50 lineups, and now you're going to see even more of an idea of where you may want to go. Small forward, you got Barnes, 76. You got Crowder at 73. So Barnes and Crowder I definitely like a lot myself personally, and I told you a little sprinkle of Josh Richardson would not be bad. He's 43%. Joe Ingles, Finney Smith, okay, he's more like just a save. You know, he's more on the lower end as far as price. We go to power forward, and it gives us 69% Kelly Olynyk, and you know that's going to be a nice value play there, 69%. So he'll be in play for me. And then you got Jaren Jackson Jr., which I told you I really like, as well as Tobias Harris, which I mentioned. And on this optimize, Tobias Harris only comes up in 7 lineups, folks. So go figure. So I may have to think otherwise here. Did I put in Harrell in here? I don't even think I put Harrell. Hold on a second. I think I messed up. No, Harrell. I'm not looking at the right one. Harrell's a power forward. Sorry. Let me go back. Sorry about that. So yeah. So we're good. And then at power forward, yeah, it's power forward. I don't see him on here. Then at center, it's Embiid. And then right after, DeAndre Jordan with Gobert, and then my guy, Nurkic. So go figure. Nurkic, only 2% of the lineups he was chosen. So they went with paying up more at shooting guard and point guard as far as the numbers are concerned, because they did give us DeRozan and they did give us Lillard. They are more of the higher price players. So it seems like they went more there, and they were willing to pay up and have you have more of Joel Embiid because of the upside that he has. So Joel Embiid is the center, and you got DeAndre Jordan at 26%. So again, as you can see, these first 3 lineups here have 3 different centers. You have Joel Embiid in this lineup with Lillard, as well as Crowder, Jaren Jackson. This is not a bad little lineup. And then you got over here DeAndre Jordan with Kleber. I don't know about Kleber. He'll be one that we'll probably eliminate. Olynyk, Crowder, Barnes, McCollum, DeRozan, Simmons, Lillard. Then you got Lillard, Rubio, DeRozan, McCollum, Josh Richardson, slightly different here. Crowder, Kelly's still here. Yeah, we're going to get rid of Kleber here. We're going to go one more. I'm going to calculate one more, and I'm going to make it only 50 lineups. Okay, let's change this to 50. Okay, 50. And we're going to get out of here. Yeah, I don't even, oh yeah, I do have Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell has been clicked on here, and they don't have him highly picked at all. We're going to take out Kleber. All right, is there anybody else I should take out of here? No, we're going to be good there. Sorry for the long video, guys, but, you know, we didn't get too much Derek White, so we're going to get him out of here, and we're going to take Forbes out of here as well. We didn't even get no Dennis Smith Jr. We're going to take Dennis Smith out of Dennis Smith. This matchup, Clippers are tough. Dennis Smith. I'd rather take Alexander than I would take Smith. And Alexander is $600 cheaper. So we have eliminated a few guys here right now. I'm going to do one more for you guys, and then we're going to wrap it up. We're going to calculate this now with these guys. And let's see what we got for 50 lineups. We reduced the lineups. We reduced a few more players. And we're going to see what kind of numbers we get here as far as lineups are concerned. And then those are the lineups you can go with. And you got to see 2 screens worth of lineups already. So here's your third opportunity to get another couple of lineups. And again, you can always come back to the video, stop it, pause it, and take a look. But we have here 50 lineups are done. And we got ourselves McCollum with 92% of the lineups. Lillard, 86%. Kelly Olynyk now at 82%. Harrison Barnes at 78%. Rubio at 76%. So I gave you Barnes. I gave you Rubio. Mr. Jackson is here at 54%. Embiid, 52%. DeRozan at 40%. And so on and so forth. Let's click on individuals. We got Lillard at point guard, the top guy. Rubio, the guy I gave you in the video, 76%. We got Simmons way down at 10%. Connolly at 4%. Mack at 2%. Actually, man, Gilgeous Alexander only 2%. Wow. Shooting guard, McCollum, DeRozan are the top 2. Dwayne Wade third with 36%. Small forward, we got Barnes at 78% with Crowder at 74%. Like those 2 guys a lot. Power forward, Olynyk 82%, Jaren Jackson 54%. So again, you can go and pay down and get a Kelly Olynyk, and now you can pay up and get a DeRozan or a Lillard and throw in there an Embiid, and now you got yourself a solid play. And then at center, you have Embiid and DeAndre Jordan with Rudy Gobert 22%, and the guy that I gave you guys, Nurkic, only 2%. So I may have to think otherwise here. But again, I'm going to leave it the way it is. All right. We could come back here and we could say, hey, let's throw in a couple of the guys that I've selected there. I know this is all new. I know it's lengthy. We got here Embiid came up the most. Lillard came up the most. We're going to see what we're going to have here. Shooting guard, it did say C.J. McCollum, and McCollum is respectable in price at $6,800. At small forward, it gave us more of Harrison Barnes, which is one of my favorite plays. At power forward, it was more of Jaren Jackson. So there you go. I gave you 5 right now on the screen out of what we got from the optimizer without actually using the optimizer's actual plays. All right. And now you can build a lineup pretty much with those guys. And this is some of the ways that I go about doing this stuff. So Damian Lillard, McCollum, Barnes, Jackson, and Embiid, and now you build around those, and you got 4,850 left over. And also the Fantasy Cruncher, just to let you guys know, if you were to use this you could utilize this also for DraftKings. Okay. I have the service that, you know, I can use it for either or. So I make my DraftKings lineups, and I can actually build my lineups here as well. Just to show you real quickly, considering it's a Sunday and it's only a 4-game slate, as you can see, here you go. You can mix match, you can change anything. You do it all right here on the Cruncher. So again, like I said, I'm going to probably utilize another software. I know there's a couple guys out there using it that was mentioned to me by, I guess, the software developer. So I may utilize that in a few videos as well moving forward, just to be able to share that with you. And maybe we as a community, we can be like, hey, which one you think you like best or whatever. I don't know. I'm here to help you guys, as you all know. But again, that's pretty much it. Let me go back to the other screen so you guys can see the lineups one more time. Okay, and we're going to come down to the bottom. And these were the last ones that were picked out for the 50-player lineup. So take a look at those one last time there. You got these up here in the top. You got Gobert, DeAndre Jordan, nice little mix there. You got Embiid. Then the next row, we have Embiid, DeAndre Jordan, and Embiid. And it's going to be slightly a couple of different other plays. Again, I will be able to show you all 50, but I'm not going to be able to do that. It's just we'll be here too long. But again, that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. So again, we put in the top percentage guys up here. As you can see on the screen, you got 4,850. And of course, you know, you could try to squeeze those guys in on your DraftKings as well, and you take it from there. But that's pretty much it, man. I wish you guys a lot of luck. Please drop a like on the video. I greatly appreciate it. At the same time, if you're new to the channel, it's your first time here. Granted, this is a little bit different. If you're here for the first time, I normally don't do this in the larger slates. I only try to do this for my viewers on 3 or 4 game slates. Anything above 5 slates, 5 games or better, I just not going to do this. I'm going to try to just give you the stud 5 and value 5. Today, I decided to just get a couple players in there, throw what I think I like best out of the matchups today. put them in the optimizer on Fantasy Cruncher, pop out and give you some percentages of what the optimizer has calculated, and be able to share with you a couple of lineups. And as you can see, these are the top the 5 guys that got the most percentages per position, and we'll take it from there. So I hope you guys like the video. Again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe so you could be able to continue to get your lineup advice videos for NBA, and of course I do NFL as well. And other than that, I wish you guys a lot of luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next